Hello everybody. My name is Keith Sun. I'm from China. I take a course this semester that is called Love and Friendship. It's a course in philosophy, and I think I've learned really a lot from this course. So I kind of want to talk about it with my friend to see how much I've gone. So I invited my friend Ace to join me for a chat today. Our topic is mostly about contemporary romantic love because we can all agree that love is such a strong force that many people in this world would die or fight for it. However, at the same time, love is considered also as a very mysterious thing, a thing that seems to us not being able to be understood perfectly. And in this semester, we learned from a writer that's called Bell Hooks, and she gave us some insight about it. So I will start by asking the first question. Ace, what do you think is love?
我觉得爱呢，就是莫名的相互吸引，就是有一个人给了你这个世界上独一无二的感觉，你也不知道为什么，但是就是有一股力量让你们对彼此产生心动，这就是爱。
So you're also thinking that love should be a mysterious emotion or feeling that two people have, right?
嗯，是的。
But so in but doesn't that create problems? Because if you say that love is a feeling or an emotion, that doesn't that mean that love could come and go? It will die out very quickly without you knowing it if it's temporary.
不是，它不是就是瞬时的呀，就这种感觉它会持久，因为爱情的力量。
Interesting. You mentioned the force of love. So what do you think this force of love is? Do you think it comes from somewhere? Or do you think it's just mysterious that you cannot know?
我觉得就是很神奇的东西，就是我也不知道。嗯
Interesting. It seems that there's no way, at least to you, to know this one true love that you're going to meet in your life. And I think that's the case for a lot of people. But I think that I definitely agree that this passion, this thing, this feeling between two people that clicks is the first step to love. But is that all love is, or is that all
当然
love
不是，
ideally should be? So what do
呃
you think there are other things in love?
还有呢，就是你去心甘情愿的去接受这个人身上所有的特征，而且不管是优点还是缺点，你都觉得你不反感，而且和这个人相处下来呢，你会发现特别的轻松和舒服。然后在相处的过程中呢，你更多的是自我成长，而不是两个人的内耗。然后这就是真正的爱情和很多其他可能男女之间的就是关系的区别。
It's very interesting that you mentioned the point of self growth because that's exactly what I'm going to ask you next. So we learned that the love's definition, we learned a definition of love, which is the will to extend one's own self, to nurture one's own or other spiritual growth. I know it's a concept that's counterintuitive, that is not hard to understand, but the idea is that when you love, you grow. And when you grow, your beloved grow with you. Um, but how exactly do you grow is a question that I want to ask you. What do you think is a sign that you're growing in love?
嗯，哇，这是个很好的问题。我想想，可能可能有一方面是你的另一半跟你说你成长了，这是一个很好的点，因为有时候你的成长你自己是不自知的，然后对方会告诉你，我觉得你 这一方面有变化，而且是变好了，我特别喜欢。然后可能这时候你才会意识到，就是你们俩的感情帮你有了些成长。或许呢，另一方面呢，是当你分开之后，你跳脱出了这个情感之后，你会发现不全是坏事，你也是在这个过程中有一些自我提升和成长。
That's interesting. I would say I agree with that. And then I want to ask you a question about how do we grow? Because both of us agree that there will be growth in a loving relationship. And and before I ask you how do we grow, I want to ask you this question: How do you think we should love? Because you just mentioned what is love, but how should we love?
我觉得去爱一个人呢，就是每天和他说话，就是你时刻都会想他，都会想和他在一起。就是你首先呢，去爱一个人，你需要对这个人彼此很坦诚，彼此很真实。然后呢，嗯，这是我觉得最重要的一点吧。
So it seems to suggest that honesty and commitment are the two factors in how should we love, right?
嗯，
And I want to ask you an interesting question that is, do you think your family love you?
是
Why?
啊，当然。
So how can you say that? There's a reason that you think so, right?
是呀，因为我觉得他们一直都在做到他们的最好，然后给我最好的支持，生活上、经济上、学习上，包括就是供我上大学之类的，就他们很爱我，我觉得是。
And would you say that there are some circumstances in which your parents don't like you? For example, if you do something bad or if you just talk back to them or say something that they don't like to hear?
这个我倒还真没有，就是没有这种情况，就是他
Right.
们一直
Right.
很包容吧，有可能。
Yeah. That's the thing that I didn't expect it. But is there, do you think your family, say, respect you?
我觉得不是很，
Give me an
因为
example that you think your family is not respecting you.
在初中的时候，就是我没有手机，然后我和我妈妈用的是一个手机，然后就是 QQ 号是切换着来的，然后我知道他们会切换到我的 QQ 号去看我和别人说了什么。
And did you talk to them? Did you make it clear to them that you don't want them to do so,
我说了。
but they still do it?
后来我就不知道了，因为我知道这件事是我看到我妈手机里有我聊天记录的截图，但是后来我就没发现了。后来他们有没有那么做，我也不知道，因为我又没有手机，我也不可能阻止他们。
Right, right. So when you made it clear to them that you don't want them to go through your chat history, do they talk back to you? Do they offer some reasons that they think they are eligible to do so?
没有，他们就说他们错了，然后就不会发生。
That's interesting. So it seems that your parents do respect you
嗯
to some extent. But the key idea here, the reason that I ask the question is that I think there are a lot of factors in or should be in a loving relationships. And the thing that you just mentioned, commitment, honesty, and of course you like someone. This affection is only part of the factors that should be present in love, but there also should be respect, care, recognition, knowledge, and trust. To take myself for an example, in my family, I wouldn't say my parents say respect me necessarily because similarly to your example, when I was in high school, I was keeping a diary, and my mom, one day she ran across my diary, and she finds that I was writing that I like someone and she wants to ask me who that is, but I say no. But eventually we end up in a fight, very intense fight. And my mom keep giving me the reason that because I'm your mom, then I should have this responsibility to you to know all of you. While I was saying that I don't want her to do that. So that's the lack of respect. And if that's the case, I think that shouldn't be exactly called love. And I know that sounds very crazy because how can somebody's parents not love them? But it probably is the case because it's a frightening thing to that we say that our parents don't love us. But if you become the parents, if I become the parent, would we use this way that our parents did to us to say love our kid? Would you use that way?
我当然不会，就
And why
是
is that?
因为他们对我做的这些事儿，还是对我有一定的伤害，就是让我有一些影响。因为这件事儿以后，我发现就是我其实很少跟他们说我的心里话了，就是还是会产生一点儿不信任。所以说我希望我的孩子去完全的信任我，我就不会对他做咱们俩类似发生的这些事，是肯定不会的。
So it seems that you also agree that in this feeling or this action your parents did to you, there are some flaws, there are some things that need to be changed in order to have a better relationship, right?
嗯。
So I guess we could say that our parents care for us. Our parents have a responsibility for us, but it might not necessarily be the case that they love us, or at least that love is not how it ideally should be, right?
嗯。
Right. And going back to my previous question about we grow when we love, it seems to me that, at least to me personally, I have observed some people who love because they need something, who love because they lack of something. They want somebody to care for them, to do their things for them, to provide them with emotional support. And that could be problematic. So I wonder how you would approach this idea.
我先思考一下。你可以重复一下你的问题吗？
Sure. My question is that, so if you say that we grow in a loving relationships, I can't help but to ask one question that I know some people who love or they want to have a loving relationship because they lack something. They want someone to do their things for them, to provide them with emotional support. They're reaching from a place of lack instead of place of fulfillment. So how would you think of this kind of so-called love?
我觉得很正常。我觉得相互索取的爱是一个很正常的事儿。有时候你就会对对方有一种感觉，是你就是怎么说，是你感到很孤独，然后你内心 缺爱，然后你会很需要他去帮你填满东西。我觉得这是很正常的一件事。
Yes, yes. And but we also hear people saying on the internet, on the internet, for example, that don't love someone when you're feeling lonely, right? Because the message, the underlying message is that you will probably make wrong decisions, or you will probably wound the other person if you're just using them as a tool to, say, fill the hole in your heart. And it's very hard to distinguish this line, right? Because when you're feeling lonely, you don't exactly know whether you love this person or you just want them to be by your side to carry you through this trouble so that you can be on your own. You don't know, right? So how can you say that it's a normal thing? Because when you say normal, it sounds to me that this is a thing that it should be there. When you say normal, it sounds to me that you're saying that this is the thing that it should be like, right? But that creates problems. What do you think of it?
是这样，我觉得就是你真正决定去爱一个人呢，你当然不能是只因为你内心孤独，然后你对对方产生爱，你当然还要有别的一些元素，是就像我刚才说的，你真正去对他心动，他有给你独一无二的感觉。那如果你只是因为内心孤独去对对方产生爱呢，那我觉得这是不是一个很好的事儿。就是所以说你本人一定要确定好，你爱这个人呢，是真正的去爱他，还是你只是这一段时间很空虚，想找个人陪你而已。就是你一定要内心去想好这件事情。
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But both of us agree that it's not easy to know, right? Whether you're feeling lonely or that you really love someone,
嗯，是啊。
right? And you just mentioned a thing that's interesting to me, that strikes interesting to me, which is you say decide to love. So it sounds to me that love to you is a thing within your choice. It's a conscious choice that you choose to make instead of something that, for example, you fall into or there's there's no control, right?
嗯，我觉得还是爱这件事还是就是你去陷入的，不是选择去。可能我刚才表达有些错误，是就是这件事你来了你抵挡不住的，不是你去决定可以这样不这样。
It's very curious because you say there's no way that you can control it, but is it that there's no way to control you like this person, or is it that there's no way to control that you love this person? Because when I say love, when I use the word love, I'm implying that you are in a relationship and you're doing a series of action that nurtures both you and your beloved's growth. So if you're doing these actions, if you're approaching love with a way that involves respect, commitment, care, affection, communication, responsibility, if you're doing all of this, these are the things that you can control, right? The thing that you cannot control is only the first passion that you feel towards this person, right? Would you say so?
嗯，对，我觉得你说的很对，是这样的。
So I guess we can establish this. Passion or this feeling that everything clicks is the first step that love arises. And then we need to consciously making the choice of love. We need to respect, commit, communicate, etc. so that we have a loving relationship, right?
是这样的。
Right. And there's also a thing that I'm curious that do you think love makes you do crazy things? Because so many people, they all say this. And you know, the Chris Rock is smacked by Will Smith, right? At Oscar. And Will Smith defends himself by saying love makes you do crazy things. But is that so? Does love make you do crazy things if we both agree that love is a conscious choice?
这个问题很难回答，是因为 我确实是没有做过，也有可能是因为我没有那么喜欢一个人，就是没有那么去陷入一段爱情，或者可能我做了一些呢，也不算什么就是疯狂的事情，比如说就是什么什么天天和他说晚安啊，就是这些，我觉得不算什么很疯狂的事情，就是这件事我是没有做过的，所以说我不知道真正当我去陷入很深的一个爱情的时候，我会不会做出来很疯狂的事情。
Right, right. So let me try to come up with some examples.
嗯
Um, if you say you like someone so much that uh, you talk back to your parents, you don't listen to your parents, you going out at night and hang out with her, you go to another city with her, you do crazy things. This is just an example. So actually that's not a good example. I'm trying to come up with a thing that because of this love, because of you love someone, you hurt somebody else. For example, you love this girl and you hurt, say, your parents. You're saying bad words to your parents because you think you love this girl more than you do for them. If that's the case, do you think it's love that makes you do so, or it's just your lack of consideration? It's just your problem. It's not the problem of love.
哇，这个问题还挺难回答的。我觉得是爱情使然吧，要不然就是伤害自己父母，对我来说还是一个挺挺难做到，就是我很难去选择主动去做这件事的。我觉得还是心里的感情，比如说你刚才说去跟女朋友去出去玩啊，过夜，然后跟他们去，然后他们不同意，我再去伤害他们，是有可能发生的。我觉得这是爱情让我去做的。嗯
Yes, and but I guess that love is not a thing, an uncontrollable force that acts on you that you have no choice at all to avoid, right?
嗯
I actually would say that love is a catalyst, is a thing that amplifies some of your negative reactions that is already in you.
嗯。
But also on the other hand, do you think, because you just mentioned that you think that love makes you do these things, so love is the reason, but do you think that this reason could be used to justify your actions? Do you think you can you can prove yourself to be not guilty by saying I love someone?
嗯，我觉得，但是这件事肯定不是让你去逃避责任的一个说法，但是它确实是有这个理由，你可以去这么解释，但是呢，但是你就不能去逃避这件事，就归根结底还是你的责任。
I agree very much. So the responsibility is still in you. It's just that you have a reason doesn't mean you're excusable from it, right?
对呀，
Sure, sure. So thus far, we established that love is a conscious choice. And I kind of want to talk with you about this mutuality thing in love because I definitely notice it on the internet and in my personal life that there are people who is always concerned about this power dynamic in love. People are always thinking about who's in charge, what's more power. But is that how love is supposed to be? What do you think?
我觉得不对，这样不对。我觉得爱情是你心甘情愿的去让对方去让对方更强势，就是去占据主动，去 in charge，不是说我一定要做到我比你强，是这样，是你都可以让心甘情愿的去让对方更强。当然，你也可以去做一个就是更强势的一个角色，不是说我一定是要比你更强，是这样。
So it seems to me that you're saying this relation, a loving relationship should be the case that the person who's in charge is constantly shifting between the two people,
嗯
and both people are doing so willingly.
嗯
It's very interesting because that's your way of thinking about this problem is one way, and there's also another way, which is there is no power shifting between people, but that two people are just essentially equal. And I can see the value in shifting powers, but I wonder if I make you choose, would you say which of these would you say is more healthy, or would you say it's just a case by case and depends on person's personality?
对，我觉得是就是根据两个人的去决定的，这件事不是每一个情况都是有一种最优解的，就看两个人怎么样。
Sure, sure. I agree that there are complexities in real world, and although we can say theory, we can apply theory, but there are always going to be complications. I agree. And we also hear that here in psychology that some people would choose their partner with the hope that their partner would fulfill some role other than romantic partner in their life. For example, a guy may find a girl who he wants to be his mother or sister, younger or older sister, or a woman might find a man that wants him to be his dad. So do you think such relationship is a healthy one? Because I constantly see people on the internet. It seems that they're treating each other in this way, but is that how you think love should be?
呃，爱情的一部分可以是这样的，因为我本人也是，就是比较喜欢姐姐，因为她会也给我一种我被就是被可能被保护的，就是感觉。但是这肯定不是爱情的全部，应该就是这件事儿可以是一部分、一小部分，但是不能是你很多的感觉都是因此来去爱这个人的。就是你大部分就是因为我想找个像我妈的，然后你很像我妈，就是我才去爱你，这是挺畸形的。但是你只是哎有一点儿小欲望，就是小小的，就是感受的话，还是可以挺是健康的。
Right. So it's not it should not be a constant theme of your relationship, but should be this occasional pleasure that you feel
嗯
towards this so-called role play thing, right?
嗯
And because we're running out of time, so I just ask you one last question. Do you think love is safe? Or do you think that once you love someone, this relationship is kind of just stable and you feel natural with each other, you feel comfortable with each other, and it's just gonna not take much hurt to kind of proceed and end up with a good, fulfilling outcome?
我觉得不是的，就是爱情还是它有时候确实是一个很脆弱的东西，它不是完全很坚固，它需要两个人去精心的呵护。嗯。
Sure. And what is an example that you can think of when two people who are loving each other get hurt? Can you think of an example?
当然，就是我看过一个电影叫《你的婚礼》，我觉得里面的两个角色都很爱对方，但是他们就是因为女生觉得男生为她牺牲，然后男生觉得女生为他牺牲，就是两个人就是没别过来这个劲儿，所以说就是这个例子还挺那什么，这是我能想到的例子。对。
So they're kind of unequal, and this disagreement on this idea of mutuality breaks their relationship in the end.
嗯，
That's interesting. Um, we're running out of time, so thank you for your time today, and I hope we have a nutrient discussion.
好呀，谢谢。
Right. Bye.